High gas prices, inflation, interest rates, other financial pressures, they're all impacting how parents are approaching the topic of money with their kids. A recent survey from Intuit found that what were once taboo subjects, things like family finances and money decisions, are now being openly discussed and are even being used as teaching moments. 81% of parents surveyed said current financial stressors make them realize how important it is to teach their kids about money. 79% said they're more transparent with their children than their parents were with them, and 71% said they want their kids to avoid making the mistakes that they made.
They're finding just everyday real world examples that they can use to start conversations. That could be as simple as we're going to the grocery store and we need to talk about wants and needs.
And online shopping carts are becoming the new family group chat where wants are expressed, negotiations happen, and purchases are made with and sometimes without parents.
I remember the days when I negotiated with my parents for a pack of Oreos.
Yeah, I'm sure you're pretty persuasive.
Oh, definitely.
Yes,
I did debate for years. And today we want to help you navigate some of those financial conversations with your loved ones. Mike Giordano, hi Mike.
Hi.
He's our financial expert with Williams Wealth Management. He's here to help us navigate some sometimes touchy topics. Why is it so hard for families to talk about their finances, especially with the people they love and they trust?
Do we get an hour for this question?
We could try.
I mean, there's just so much wrapped up about money, and it's not actually the money. It's about money. It signals security, fear, love, control. So all these things are wrapped up into it. And so this is one reason why it's so hard. Just as Sydney was saying there, a lot of people have never had money conversations, or the money conversations they've had in their family has all been about like, fights over money. And so we just haven't really been raised about it. And then people have shame. You know, you mismanaged your money, you think you should have more money, you're embarrassed by the money you have. It creates a lot of things and you don't really want to feel that.
I understand that, but it is important to have those conversations, you said. I know my mom, especially when I was in college, I tried to work my way through. I waited tables, but my mom and my dad helped me financially when I was in college. They helped my Grammy financially at the same time.
Wow.
We've got a lot of people in that sandwich generation trying to help their adult kids, trying to help their aging parents. They've got a lot to make sure they're taken care of, including themselves. This is a loaded conversation for them, I would assume. Where do families get that conversation wrong?
Yeah, I mean, that was a beautiful story you're just sharing about your own family. You know, where people can get this conversation wrong is where they try to make it too much too quickly.
Okay.
So they may want to go, man, I really need to have a money conversation. Let's have a really big money conversation. Let's pile it all on. And that's just way too much for anybody. So much better to take it in little pieces and chunks. The biggest problem, though, the biggest mistake that people have is that they wait too long. They wait until there's a crisis event, a health scare, a divorce, a death in the family, and then all of a sudden they're like, okay, now we got to reshuffle the finances, or we got to put them out in the open and figure some things out. And it just puts a lot of, it's an emotional time already, and then you got a time crunch, and it's just not a great time to be discussing these heavy issues.
And one thing I've seen just in my time, you can get emotional about money in conversations. Money is something people get heated about oftentimes. How can we have these talks kind of constructively with our families? Yeah,
the best way to have the talks constructively is to realize that when a lot of the fights over money come down to not necessarily money, but values and what people value. Each one of us, every member in a family is going to value different things, and they want to use money for different things. So you have to understand it's a conversation about values. It's so important that every person feels seen within the conversation, and everybody feels like they're trying to be understood. And when you're able to do that, now all of a sudden you can bring to the table, like, how do we get started? How do we just say, hey, where do you want to be 5 years from now? Or where do you want to, what's something you want to do in your own life? And you can kind of start little small conversations that can lead into a big picture.
I gotta be honest with you, I'm feeling a little guilty in this conversation because I've been putting off a budgeting conversation with my husband.
Wow.
If I wanted to have a conversation with him, or if anyone at home wanted to have a conversation with their family about something like this, maybe they've been putting it off, how would you start that conversation?
I would say let's sit down for 4 hours. Let's lay it all out on the table. Now, that would probably not go well. I mean, who wants a 4-hour long conversation about something they don't really want to talk about? But no, what you want to do is just what I was saying a few seconds ago, which is start small. Start with a question about where do we want to go in the future? That's an easy question. It doesn't necessarily dive right into money, but it gets you going in terms of thinking through big picture. What do you want for your life? Then we can start figuring out like, oh, okay, how can we use our money to make that happen? If it's a parent talking to a child who's like, I want to go start a business, and they say, I want to start this lawn care business up, then the parent can start thinking through like, oh, maybe we could help you, buy a lawnmower, get started in that business and whatnot. So starting off with what do you want the future to be, that's where the best way to get going. And if you can, try to find the family member who's the easiest to have this conversation with. Start there, because then, it builds momentum. You start getting excited. Now, if you don't have any easy children or easy parents to do this with,
I'm sorry.
Find a neighbor to start the conversation with. But the most important thing is that, the most important conversations are sometimes the ones that you're not having at all. So just realize if you can get the ball started, momentum can carry you a long way.
Mike Giordano, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you.
Yeah, definitely.